Welcome back to Fresh Faces New Ideas. My name is David. Or if you're new to the channel or you'd like to keep up to date with all the videos that I make, please like and subscribe this video. Please follow me on Twitter at Faces Ideas. Now this is one of the two segments I'm going to put up for my live stream. This segment I'm going over the rash of mass shootings that have happened and just general gun violence in America and some of the ways that we can deal with it and some of the unacceptable ways that it's been dealt with. Now, please remember, like and subscribe to this video, and I will see you in the next one. At mass shootings. Because, like I mentioned, there's a mass shooting every single day in America. There's been a mass shooting every single day in America for the last 3 years. This is the graphic. Mass shootings since 2014. It dropped for 2 years. 2018 was 336. So this is almost a mass shooting every day. This was 2019. There's 417. So that's more than a mass shooting every day. And during a pandemic, we topped over 600 mass shootings. So currently in America, we've had 147 mass shootings. We've had 45 since 8 people were killed in Atlanta. That was a month ago. Literally a month ago. We've had 45 mass shootings since then. We only have 147. Well, at this rate, we might actually have less than one a day. Well, we're not going to have less, but we might not hit the 700 mark. So in America, as we come back to normal from the coronavirus, it is normal now for there to be a mass shooting every single day, because that's what it's going to be. So these are the 45 incidents. This is cover them, and let's take a look at where they are. They're coming from. So this is mass shootings in the past month. Here's where they all are. Let's be clear about something. It does not matter where you are in America. It does not matter what part of the country you are in. There's going to be a mass shooting in your area. It is just a matter of time. It doesn't matter if it's in a school. It doesn't matter if it's in a movie theater. It doesn't matter if it's in a mall. It does not matter. In America, mass shootings are prevalent. And this idea that more guns keep you safe can't be true because we have more guns than people. And 2019 saw more guns bought than at any point in history. So how can we be safe if so many people are shooting each other all the time? Well, we can't. This is not an effective way to live. At this point, people are more safe being in their houses, because if you go outside, you're likely to get shot. This most recent one was possibly because of being an ex-employee, and they thought he might be a problem. So, but we don't really have a lot of information. And mass shootings happen for dozens of reasons. They happen for racial bias. They happen for political bias. They happen because you believe the government is a tyrant. There's so many reasons to do this. However, the answer is not to do fucking nothing. That's just not the answer. That cannot be the answer, and it cannot continue to be the answer. We also have another answer, and I'm going to go look at that in a minute. But that is not the answer either, because that does not help. Look, I covered this last live stream, and when I clip this segment and I put it into the individual videos, I will attach the other two videos. The data does not show that having a gun makes you more likely to stop a mass shooting. It just doesn't. And I'm not saying just ban all the AR-15s. I don't think that would work, because there's a lot of shootings that are caused just by handguns. But there should be some type of background check, which is almost universally supported by Americans. And if you don't agree with the background check, why? If your argument is, oh, well, they give the government more ability to track you, tough shit, man. Look, the only other option to not having any type of gun control is that every time you walk into a subway, every single person is carrying multiple firearms, and everyone has their hand on the trigger in case somebody sneezes the wrong way, and you got to think they're going to shoot you, so now you got to light them up. Part of the reason that police have to be on edge and all the traffic stops is because they never know which fucking person's going to be armed. And I get it. Sometimes you don't know. But we also see a disproportionate amount of police targeting African Americans. They get killed at 2-to-1 ratio. They get pulled over at 4-to-1 ratio. We're going to talk about the police in a minute because if it's not a mass shooting every day, there's another police killing every day. And there was one today in Lent Park in Portland, so that information will come out as probably be covered by me on Monday. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. We'll see how bad it gets. But look, mass shootings should not be common. They should not be occurring at this rate. We are the only country that does it. So all you pro-gun people, if your answer to mass shootings is what I described, where every single person is strapped up and walking on eggshells because they're afraid that Jim Bob Nancy, who's standing next to them in line at Subway, is going to have a bad day or sneeze the wrong way and someone's going to have a hair trigger and everyone has to start firing at each other. If that's what you think being free in America is, fuck you. Because that's not a free country. That's a war zone without a war. That's not how this works. Your overall need to carry a firearm because it makes you think you need to be a big man like that does not oversee the amount of people who are getting fucking killed all the time. So let's talk about Texas. Texas approved open carry without permit for a handgun. Why? It was despite opposition from local police chiefs who said it puts officers at risk and lets citizens carry a gun without proper training and vetting. This is also the other argument. Oh, we just want good guys with a gun to have it and, they can get the proper training. We don't train enough people. You can just apply for a firearm and now you have a firearm. And if you have enough bullets, eventually you can kill enough people. The one that just killed 8 people, that lasted for 2 minutes. There was the one in Ohio where the police were on the scene and they shot 14 people. That lasted for 30 seconds. So this idea that more people with guns is a better answer is just not fucking true. What the hell is this? Passed a bill on Thursday allowing open carry. The largest state in the nation to allow non-permit handgun carries. So anybody can go get a gun, and now they have no way to track it. You can just get a gun. The residents must obtain a permit to carry a handgun, which requires training class, shooting class, written exam, and application fee up to $40. Restrictions would still apply to people convicted of felonies and domestic violence. I don't understand how that would be if they don't need a permit to do that. If there's no permit, what is the background check response? He said, called it constitutional carry legislation, argued that many people don't have the time and money to get a permit. If you do not have the time and money to get a fucking permit and the $40 to buy a handgun, you should not have a handgun. What type of fucking disconnect is this? In Texas, they're like, yeah, we believe that people have a right to a handgun, but we don't want them to be trained, and we don't want them to have to pay anything. We just want to allow them to go in because so in Texas, their argument is you need to have identification to vote, and we're going to make it difficult to get that identification. It costs more than $40 if you don't have an ID to get an ID. We're also going to, and now keep in mind, when you register for vote, they have all your information anyway. So you show up, so you're in a database. So voter ID is just another step in the way. It's not the only way to verify who people are. So you need that to vote, but to get a handgun, you just got to apply, man. You don't need a permit. You don't need training. You don't need to do $40. Nah, none of that stuff. You deserve your murder weapon right now. And let's be clear. The other argument is, people get killed by cars and hammers and things all the time. Because that's the other one. Is, you get killed by blunt force objects. What is a gun's purpose other than to kill things? It doesn't have one. What is a car's purpose? Transportation. What is a hammer's purpose? You use it to smack things. You use it to nail things in. It's a tool. A firearm has no other purpose than to inflict damage and kill somebody. That is the only purpose of a firearm. So this idea that the best way to keep people safe, and keep in mind, right after they argued that, right after Joe Biden had his milquetoast, his milquetoast orders, presidential orders, And Texas said, we will not allow any Second Amendment rights to be trampled on. There was a shooting in Texas, in Knoxville. Was Knoxville, Tennessee? It might have been the school shooting, but there was a shooting in Texas right after that. So look, last year we had the least amount of school shootings because people weren't in school. They're going to start up again. They're going to start up everywhere. There's a good chance you go to sleep hearing about a shooting, and you wake up to a shooting. That's just how it is in America. I can't stress this enough. This idea that is being pushed out there that more guns make you safer is undercut by the fact that we have all the fucking guns. And this idea that a good guy with a gun will stop a bad guy with a gun is undercut by the fact that the data doesn't show that. And also, the people who say that if you want to be a hero means you have to constantly be training with it is undercut by this idea that you don't need to be training or have a fee. I can't. This is one of the most mind-blowing statements I've ever heard. Arguing that many people don't have the time and money to get a permit. You still have to get a permit and get trained. Tennessee Governor Saturday did a similar bill. I don't look. So this was not the school shooting. The school shooting was in Tennessee. I want a logical explanation based in fact where you can tell me, look, no. This is not a logical explanation. Here's the stance. Any single person who is not advocating for a system that either removes the guns or puts harder restrictions on gun control is advocating for the death of Americans. It is inexplicable. It is undeniable at this point. Those are your options. The rate that we are going, the only outcome you can have is mass death all the time. And then they'll argue, oh, we need to put more money into the police and we need to release restrictions to allow more people to get firearms. It's just death. How much data do you need? How many more times do we have to see crying people on the television? How many more times do you have to bury a loved one? The Republicans are advocating for your death. It is simple as that. They refuse to do anything to make things better. They did it with COVID. They lied about it. They hid their restrictions. They downplayed it. They argue against masks. They're anti-vaxxers, and now they've been doing it with guns for years. So tell me this, people who are gun advocates, what is your solution? Because you're wrong on the data. There is no data that proves more guns help people, because it would not help. It does not help us. You're wrong on the data that a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. I've been over that data. You're wrong. It doesn't. So are you telling me that you're okay with a world, and I repeat this over and over again, where people just are gunned down indiscriminately because somebody has a bad day or something else, and they decide to just start killing people? And if you imagine, how does this make it better? If you're allowing people to not be registered with their firearms, when it possibly also implies that they're not going to be trained, how are they going to be able to kill these people with a gun? In all likelihood, when you show up and everyone's armed, and then the police show up. Also, we sell hollow point bullets, which are solely designed to punch through body armor. Why? Who needs to be able to punch through body armor in home defense? They're just cop killer bullets. So how do you back the blue if you're selling things that are trying to murder them? So look, and if you have police officers show up, they're already high stress as it is. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But when everybody's armed and everyone's firing at each other, well, who are the police going to shoot at? They don't know who started it. You don't know. If I'm in a crowded area and someone starts firing and everybody's armed, well, everyone's just going to start firing. It's going to rise the death toll even higher. At this point, if you're not advocating for some type of change that doesn't include more guns or less restriction on guns, you are advocating for the death of Americans. It is inexplicable, and anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. Until somebody can prove to me with data that any other country allows as many guns as we do, and because there isn't, and then anybody has these type of restrictions, lack of restrictions, and has this type of death count from firearms, and I don't want to hear, oh, it comes from suicides. Yeah, you know what stops having people from getting suicide by a handgun? Not having a handgun. There's no, look, at some point, enough of American people are going to go, you know what, I'm tired of this. Because the Republicans have shown, with COVID, there is no amount of death that they would find to be too much for any type of restriction. And as it comes with gun violence, as we see year after year, there is no amount of gun violence that they say is, okay, at this point, we got to do something about it. That's all there is to do. They refuse to do this. So now, thanks for watching. If you like this content, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and that'll keep you up to date on all my stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.